Hello and welcome to Daughters of Narcissistic Mothers podcast, your number one podcast for healing the wound of maternal narcissism and stepping into your power. In this episode, 2 steps to deal with fear of meeting your narcissistic mother and hypervigilance after going no contact. You will gain a deeper understanding of where the fear of meeting your mother after going no contact comes from, helping you feel less crazy and alone in this. And by listening till the end, you will get the 2 fundamental steps to stop feeling so anxious about meeting her again. I'm Matilda and I'm your host. I'm an inner transformation mentor supporting women healing mother wounds through the one-on-one 10 weeks program and through Reclaim Your Fullness online community. So let me start by asking you, have you gone no contact and now you're living in constant fear of meeting your mother? Do you feel anxious before going out in case you'll bump into her accidentally? Or maybe you're worried she will do it on purpose and even come to your house unexpected and show up. I get it. I've personally been through this experience myself in different ways, going no contact with narcissistic members of my husband's family and being scared for a while to meet them in town. Always looking over my shoulder in case they could be there. And since going no contact with my mother, the crippling anxiety anytime I was calling home to speak to family members that live with her, and the fear that she would be the one picking up the phone or that they would try and put her on the phone to talk to me, like the flying monkeys do, trying to get me to fix the relationship with her. So I really, really get it. And this fear can lead you to crippling anxiety and hypervigilance, keeping your nervous system in high alert and survival mode the whole time, in anticipation of the possibility to meet her, if you know that you are going to meet her, like at a family event or something like that, and also during the time you're out and about where that could happen as like a possibility because maybe you live in the same town. So all of this causing you to feel exhausted in the aftermath, even if in the end you haven't even met her. So like you could be going out into town and this fear of meeting her could actually have you in this survival mode for the whole time, so that when you come home, you're absolutely exhausted. You haven't met your mother, but it's like she's still controlling you. Like you've got no contact and her energy is still very much controlling and sort of ruining your experiences and your day. So this can become quite the nightmare, which comes to make the no contact be even more challenging than it already might be for you. I know for a while I avoided calling home. And I remember my first visit in Italy has been somewhat ruined by the anxiety that some flying monkeys would arrange for my mother to be there without letting me know in their attempt at saving the relationship between us. So I was like, I had to go visit some relatives, some family members that are obviously common between myself and my mother, and going there was like this anxiety. What if she's there? What if they haven't told me and they're just pretending and they're inviting me with excuses, but actually she's going to be there and they're going to try to make us talk or all this sort of awkward stuff. So that was very intense to navigate. That's why I wanted to do this episode, because this is really, really important. And then there are the family events where she will be there. Like there could be a family wedding or like a birthday party, whatever, where you actually know that she has been invited to, and so what to do. Sometimes you truly might want to go, and yet the anxiety of what to do or not to do, or what to do when you see her, how to behave, what will she do, can actually be very intense, to say the least. So how do we deal with this? First of all, I want you to ground and remind yourself again and again that you have done nothing wrong by going no contact. You have made a choice to prioritize your life and protect yourself, which is very important, and most of all, you're absolute right. You put a boundary between you and your mother's toxic behavior, and none of it is your fault. And I say this because that anxiety can come in part from that part of yourself that feels some kind of shame around having gone no contact. as if it was a failure on your part. I've definitely been there. And I said things to myself like, if I acted differently, if I expressed better, if I was more tolerant, maybe we could still be in contact. And maybe you never felt that, and that's okay. But for those listening in who have had these thoughts about their decision, about your decision of going no contact, you had your reasons, and none of those reasons mean you are a bad person or a failure. It is a very courageous act of self-love to protect yourself and set your boundaries. And if these boundaries lead to no contact, that's just not actually really, that has anything to do with you. That's really your mother that is not respecting your boundaries, is not understanding what you're telling her, and she's not willing to see the way she's hurting you. So ultimately, it's really her choice. She is doing this to herself. Because if she listened to your boundary, if she respected you, if she started seeing things differently, there'd be no need to go no contact, would there? So, the other place this anxiety and fear come from is the fact that there's constant uncertainty. You can't predict if you will meet her or not. Let's say, like as we said, going into town, going out and about, you don't know if she's gonna be in a shop or not, or if she's gonna be down the street. Or you can't predict what will happen, what she will do if you meet her. You can't predict her behavior. My mother could answer the phone and be super cold and indifferent, or she could hang up on me, or she could be sweet as pie as if we never stopped talking, or she could yell at me and treat me horrible. There is no way to tell. Even knowing her as well as I do, I still couldn't know for sure which version of her would come to the phone. And this is unnerving, to say the least. This is really scary because you don't know what are you going to meet, what's going to happen, how is she going to behave. Is she going to make a scene in front of everyone? Is she going to treat you like crap? Is she going to blow up at you? Or is she going to be loving and like love bomb you? Or is she going to ignore you? Which can, even though you want no contact and you could say, well, that would be the best of the options, still that can hurt quite a bit. So you need to bring a degree of certainty back in the picture in order to support your system and not feel that anxious anymore. If you're prepared, you're back in control and there's no need to be anxious anymore. So as I said at the beginning, I wanted to give you a deeper understanding of where this anxiety, hypervigilance comes from. And there's these two aspects. The fact that there's patterns in your system that have been put there, of course, as you were growing up, that will sort of come to you in the version of, I've done something wrong by going no contact. I'm a bad person by doing that. So if I meet her and she gives out to me and things happen and people are seeing this happening and flying monkeys are around, it's ultimately all going to be a whole big judgment of you and who you are and how you are, on top of the anxiety that comes from knowing how toxic and abusive she can be and not knowing how this will happen or how this will come about when you meet her. How will she behave? This uncertainty is really, really difficult to deal with. And in general, a system that has been traumatized in childhood, like we have, having a narcissistic mother, uncertainty is really something that it's not easy to deal with in general. But here we know it's like going into the cage of a tiger and we don't know what's going to happen, you know, like, you know, you're in danger, but you don't know where or how is that going to come at you. So the two steps I'm going to give you now are designed to bring that certainty back for you, to help you take back control of the situation. Even if it's a situation that's unpredictable, there are elements of it that you are able to control. And if you take control of those elements, that this brings a degree of safety back in your field for you, and then you can deal with it much, much better. So there are two things that you can do. which will put the control back in your hands. Number 1, set what we call if-then. If-then. And I'm going to explain this a little bit better in a minute. And then number 2, set clear boundaries. So, number 1, what are the if-thens? This is how you prepare for situations that may happen, knowing exactly what you will do in case you meet your mother after going no contact. So you cannot predict or control what she will do, but you can prepare and be 100% in control of what you are going to do. So here are some examples. Number 1, for the accidental meeting, like in town, for example, if you're living in the same town or down the same street as your mother, set if-thens. Prepare yourself with, if I meet her, ... you fill the blank, then I will. And whatever you're going to do. So myself and my husband had to get very clear about our if-thens in case we met family members we are no contact with. So, for example, we said if we enter a restaurant and they're there, then we leave. And we have this agreement between myself and my husband. We know that this is what we're going to do. So there's no guesswork. There's no uncertainty. We know that if we enter a restaurant in the same town where we're all living and they're sitting there, then we just turn around and out the door. That's it. And I know you can say, but what if you booked? What if this? What if that? You can choose what your if-thens are. You could say, if we enter a restaurant and my mother is there, then we'll just go to our table and ignore her. That can be your thing. Whatever. These are personal to you and to your life and to your situation and to your choices. There's no way I can tell you what your if-then can be, but the thing that it's important is to make sure that you have this. And you need to choose if-thens that work for you. When you're deciding what the action you're going to take is, it has to be an action that works for you, that you're comfortable with, that you're going to see through and that you're going to do. Actually, maybe that you're comfortable with may not be the best way to put it, because of course it's not comfortable for me to enter a restaurant. I decided I wanted to go eat in and then having to leave. It's actually quite annoying, but it's way better than having to face people that I know are going to be in some way, shape or form toxic with me. So that's what I mean by choosing if-thens that work for you. So another example, for a family situations, you can also set if-thens. If she's at such an event, then I will or I won't, and fill in the blank. So we said, you could meet her at a birthday party or a wedding, a family wedding or whatever. So you can decide, if she's there, then I know for me, then I won't go. But that's mine. Again, that's what works for me. You can have other options that work best for you, but the important thing is to set them, to be prepared. Another example, if she answers the phone, then I have mine, which is I hung up. I give no explanation. I don't even say hello. I don't care if they think I'm crazy because I'm hanging up. If they can just, redial the number and they know it's me, whatever. That's their baby. If she answers the phone, then I hung up. That's it, full stop. I had to get clear with this in order to be able to still ring other family members that live in the same house using the landline. And you're wondering, why don't you use the mobile phones? Because in my home place, there's very little reception. So I can't do that. Another example, if she shows up at my door, then I don't answer. Then I call a friend to help, and you could have an agreement with a neighbor or a friend that will come to support you if that happens. Whatever is the solution that works for you, again, we always go back to that. whatever is the solution that works for you, as long as it's keeping you safe and is keeping your boundaries working. Because there's no point of having said to your mother, I'm no contact. If you come at my door, I will not answer. And then set an if then that says, oh, if she comes at my door, then I will answer and tell her to leave. Don't contradict yourself as much as you can. Stay consistent. So if you have a boundary that says, that has a consequence, that if my mother comes knocking at my door, unexpected and unwanted, where no contact, then I will not answer, then that's your if then. Another example, if I'm asked to join an event that involves her, then I will decline. I will go later when I know she's left. Whatever that is. Again, whatever works for you. Whatever the situation, this is the important part of if-thens. Whatever the situation, you can prepare by knowing what you will do. So you can never fully tell what she will do or where she might show up, but you can absolutely decide what you will do and stick to that. And you can have, and the next question could be, but what, do I have to set if-thens for every single small little situation? You don't. You can actually have general ones that kind of work for most situations. Now, I know for me, in general, if she's around, I'm not gonna be there. That's my if then. If she's there, then I will go somewhere else. If she answers the phone, then I will hang up. I've kept it very simple for myself. I know that I don't want to be in the same space as her. So this is my general. Now, can some situation arise, like, I don't know, where I will, like, my sister's already married, but let's say she wasn't and she was gonna get married. I wouldn't want to miss my sister's wedding, so I could have to set possibly hypothetically different if-thens, because she would be, my mother probably would be there. So you can set specific ones for specific situations that arise before you enter the situation. But as a general point, you can set if-thens that are quite general and applicable for a lot of different situations, so that you don't have to go with all the incy-bincy little specifics of it. The most important thing is that this brings the control back to you, brings the certainty back. And with the certainty, it brings safety back too, which will help reduce this constant anxiety and fear of what if I meet her? What if I meet her around? What if she's there? What's she gonna do? That doesn't matter anymore, because you know what you are gonna do. You're grounded into what you are gonna do. So this is the first thing. The first step is set if-thens. This makes such a difference. I can really promise you, it really, really helps. Like, we've had months of ruined experiences in the fear of what if we meet them, what if. We have eliminated the what ifs with this one simple exercise. The second point, the second step, is to set clear boundaries anywhere that is needed. So this can be with family members or even friend, because we can fall into the trap of, they should know that I don't want to speak with my mother. They should know that since I'm no contact, I won't be in the same room with her, and so on. You know, this, they should know. I've said it once, so at this point, they should all know. It's a trap that we can fall into. And I made that assumption when I turned vegetarian, for example, 20 years ago. I turned vegetarian, and then I went visiting my mother. And in my head, I was like, my mother should know that chicken is meat. Well, she didn't, because she kept saying to everyone, my daughter is vegetarian, she'll have chicken, please. So I had a lot of chicken that month, although I really didn't want to. Now, I was only, how old I was 19 back then, so I still had to learn a lot about setting boundaries, about making my voice be heard, and all of that. It wouldn't happen now. But to say that any assumption that we make that other people should get it, they should know. Anytime you're putting a they should, whatever else, there's something you're not speaking. And you're leaving yourself open for a situation that's going to be very uncomfortable. So going on assumption and leaving things unsaid, again, brings uncertainty. As you are relying on others knowing what you need them to do, and doubts and uncertainty feed anxiety. So rather than relying on them getting it and knowing it just because you said it once, speak about the elephant in the room, even when you feel it should be obvious to everyone. That's why it's called the elephant in the room, because it's bloody big. And it should be obvious, but it's not. So speak it and set your boundaries. The elephant in the room with my grandmother was, what if she tried to make us talk? So I spoke it and set a boundary. If you put mom on the phone when I ring you, I will hang up. And then I won't ring you again. That's it. She knows I'm not speaking with mom pretty much 4 years. We're coming around 4 years now in October. She knows we're no contact. I have set that boundary of not wanting to talk to her as a general boundary several times. And yet, there's an elephant in the room when we're talking about a phone call. Because I'm ringing always at the same time when I know my grandmother is at home. I know my mother is at home at that time too. So it's easy to go, oh, you go answer the phone. Why won't you talk to her? Or trick me into it, or do all of that stuff. They work that way. So the only way to bring that certainty back into my field is to set a boundary. A boundary, and remember, always with a consequence, which you're going to implement. So if you put mom on the phone, I will hang up, and then I won't ring you again. So my grandmother knows that I will not ring her again if she plays a trick like that on me. She'll have to be the one to ring me from that point on. And she doesn't like doing that. So that's a boundary. Okay, so again, if you invite mom when I come visit, then I will leave. Going back to my visit in Italy, when I'm going again, this is going to be a boundary I'm going to be setting with the people I'm going to be visiting. I'm coming to visit you. If you invite mom as well, then I will leave. And I won't trust to come visit you again. So set your boundaries. The if-thens that we spoke about earlier are like your internal boundaries. So those are, if you've noticed, the phrasing is very similar. If my mother is at that event, then I will leave. If you put mom on the phone, then I will hang up and I won't ring you again. So they're actually if-thens, all of them. But the ones at the beginning, the first step, are if-thens that you set as your internal boundaries. They're your guidelines for how you are going to behave depending on the situation. And then there are the boundaries you can speak to others to make sure you're all on the same page. Of course, there will be people around you who will honor and respect your boundaries, and others who won't. This is when you implement the consequences and you stick to them. Setting boundaries is a very important part of dealing with a narcissistic mother and with her flying monkeys. On Reclaim Your Fullness community and training platform, we have a 4 days boundary setting foundation workshop, which gives you the full ABC of boundary setting, and you can access that workshop anytime. It's part of the deal as you join the community, so you can access it by joining today. In the description of this episode, you can find the free roadmap to boundary setting to get you started. That's a really amazing tool to actually give you the ABC summarized there, how to get you started in setting boundaries. Setting if-thens and setting boundaries won't get rid of the anxiety entirely, of course, because there's a lot of different places that comes from, but it will greatly reduce it when we're talking about this specific situation of you've went no contact and now you have this fear and anxiety and actual hypervigilance of your nervous system. What if I meet her? What if she's there? What if she shows up unexpected? So by setting if-thens and setting boundaries, you're gonna reduce that anxiety. There can be anxiety that comes from deeply rooted trauma within your system, and this will need to be addressed too, and that's a different topic altogether. So I do have an episode on this topic specifically on the podcast. It's episode 106, Anxiety, the biggest mistake we make when dealing with anxiety and 2 steps to overcome it for daughters of narcissistic mothers. So I will put the link in the description of this episode too. Something that I haven't mentioned is when you're setting boundaries, it's really important to set them with people that are close to you as well. So whatever about family members that you're going visiting, that you're seeing, that could be potential flying monkeys, there's also, you could have a husband, for example, a partner that's with you, and you've went no contact. And again, you may have spoken to them about how you want to go about this, but to actually include them in your if-thens and have specific communication with them as to how you want this to be. It's really, really important. It brings a lot of safety and a lot of clarity. And of course, the hope is that they will respect that, being close to you. I've had clients where this has not been the case, but the vast majority of the time when the communication is clear, what I've seen working with clients is that actually it's easier to get on the same page when you're like, okay, with your partner, you just speak before an event or speak before a situation, and you go, okay, if mother rings, this is what we're gonna do. I need you to do the same. I need you to do this for me. This is important, and it gets really clear. Again, the elephant in the room, we speak to it, even with people that you are again so convinced they should just get it. It should be obvious. It never is. So it's really important to speak that, and I wanted to add that at the end because I don't think I said it earlier. Okay, so I hope this offers a bit more clarity on what to do if you go no contact and then you're afraid of meeting your mother again. You're welcome to send me an email at matilde@womenreclaimingtheirfullness to .me to ask any questions, and also you're welcome to share your experience in the comments below. And with that, I'm sending you lots of love, and bye for now.